You ever look at a perfect glass of wine and just wonder, how? What's really going on inside that fermentation tank? It's not magic, I can tell you that. It's more like this delicate, super high-stakes dance with science. So let's pull back the curtain on this hidden world.
All right, take a look at this. You see that rich color, that beautiful glass of wine? What's the most important thing that went into making it? Your first thought is probably the grape, right? Or maybe the soil, the terroir, all that sunshine. And yeah, you're not wrong, that stuff is so critical. But once those grapes get to the winery, there is one single factor, just one, that can literally make or break the entire batch.
It all comes down to temperature. That's it, just temperature. Think about that. A single number on a thermometer becomes the winemaker's absolute best friend and their worst nightmare. So why is it so important? Well, to get it, you gotta understand that fermentation isn't some gentle, quiet process. Nope. It's basically a controlled chemical chain reaction. And just like any reaction, it generates its own energy and a lot of its own heat.
The sciencey term for this is an exothermic process. All that really means is it releases energy as heat. So picture millions of tiny yeast cells just furiously chowing down on sugar and turning it into alcohol. Each one is like a tiny little engine, and all those engines are pumping out heat. If you just let it go, that tank of wine would literally cook itself from the inside out. No joke.
And that's where the winemaker comes in. Their whole job, really, is to act like a bodyguard for the wine, keeping that fermentation right in what we call the Goldilocks zone. You know the story. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. And for these really delicate, aromatic white wines we're talking about, that perfect range is just between 14 and 18 degrees Celsius. I mean, that is a razor-thin window to hit, and if you miss it, the stakes are unbelievably high. Okay, so what happens if you go outside that zone? Well, if it's too cold, the yeast are just lazy. They don't want to wake up, they don't want to work. The fermentation might not even start, or it'll just fizzle out. But get it too hot? Oh, that's way worse. All those beautiful, fragile aromas, the stuff that makes the wine smell incredible, kind of the whole point, they get boiled right off, gone forever. You get these nasty cooked flavors, and the yeast can go into a frenzy, burn through all their food too fast, and just die. And that right there, brings us to what is, without a doubt, every winemaker's single biggest nightmare. It's called a stuck fermentation. Okay, this chart is fantastic because it tells two completely different stories. First, look at curve I. That's the hero's journey. See how the density line drops nice and steady? That's our happy yeast eating sugar. Now look at curve 3. That's the temperature. It spikes up as the yeast gets to work, and then bam, you see these refrigerations where the winemaker steps in to cool things down. Perfect control. But now, look at curve 2. That's the tragedy. The density starts to drop, and then it just flatlines. It stops. The yeast have given up. The wine is stuck, unfinished. That, my friends, is a stuck fermentation.
And trust me, fixing this is not easy. The source material puts it pretty bluntly. Trying to restart it is a long and complicated process. It's basically emergency surgery for wine. And a lot of the time, the patient doesn't make it. The consequences, they're a total disaster. You're left with this sweet, unfinished wine, which is basically a 5-star hotel for any nasty spoilage bacteria in the area. The wine can oxidize and turn brown. And the real killer, bacteria can get in there and start making acetic acid. You know what that is? It's vinegar. Your beautiful wine turns into salad dressing. It's a total loss.
So, how do winemakers stop this nightmare from happening? Well, it comes down to a really precise toolkit and an almost obsessive discipline routine. They are literally fighting for every single drop of flavor.
This is their daily grind. Several times a day, every single day during fermentation, they're following these steps. They take a sample, they measure the temperature to check the heat, and they measure the density to see how much sugar is left. Those two numbers, temperature and density, they tell the whole story, and every decision is based on them.
And this is how it's done. You've got the constant monitoring, and then you have the secret weapon, the cooling jacket. You can see it in the diagram there. It's basically a refrigerator wrapped around the outside of the tank. It circulates ice-cold water or glycol to pull all that heat away from the wine. This piece of tech is what gives them that life-saving, precise control.
Now this chart makes a really important point. See how much faster the fermentation is at 18 degrees compared to 13? So you might be thinking, well, why not just run it hot and get it done faster? But see, a faster fermentation is a wilder fermentation. It's much harder to control. It's like trying to tame a race car versus driving a predictable family sedan. The goal here isn't speed. The goal is a smooth, steady, controlled journey all the way to the finish line.
And that journey, it's all about watching this incredible transformation, keeping a close eye on it from the very beginning to the very end.
And this table just lays it out perfectly. The winemaker starts with this thick, sugary grape juice, right? High density. And they know they're done when basically all the sugar is gone. We're talking less than 2 grams per liter, and the density has plummeted. That one simple measurement, density, acts like their compass, guiding them safely through the whole chaotic process.
So here's the bottom line, the crucial point of all this. Every single thing they do, every measurement, every little temperature tweak, it's all for one reason: to protect those beautiful, delicate aromas that were born in the vineyard. You see, the best winemaking isn't about creating flavor, it's about not losing it. Which kind of leaves us with this final big question. We always hear that great wine is made in the vineyard, right? But after seeing the insane level of precision and control it takes just to keep the wine from literally destroying itself, you gotta wonder, is that final masterpiece in your glass crafted by the farmer in the field or by the scientist in the control room?